This is the Midland HH54VP2. It comes with the radio, charger, docking station, AC adapter, belt clip, and a rechargeable battery pack. And it's really more than a weather alert radio. It's what's known as an all-hazard radio. And by all-hazard, it'll report 60 or more emergency situations. That includes all the weather alerts, nuclear power plant warnings, civil emergencies, fire warnings, biological hazards, floods, landslides, child abduction alerts like Amber Alerts is another word for it, 911 outages, avalanche alerts. Very complete, very useful. It's very, very well made. It's a nice size. Weighs just a little over 8 ounces with the battery pack in it. And I've been using it now for about 2 months, and I've had great success with it. The radio has specific area messaging and coding, which means that you can set it up to receive just those weather alert messages that apply to the county in which you're located. You can set it up for 1 or up to 9 counties that you're interested in getting those weather alerts for. And what's good about that is that so many radios that don't have SAME encoding capability is you get all these alerts that have nothing to do with you, so that either you don't catch it and you're not sure it applies to your county or not, or you hear so many of them you don't even really listen to them, and you might miss something that's really important. I'll show you a little bit later on where you encode those SAME codes into the radio, and it's really very simple and a very good feature. The other thing I wanted to show you was the travel home button. This is where we have everything set in the radio. You've got your default channel, you've got your default SAME codes, everything's set up for where you're normally located. Well, what happens if you travel? With another radio, you may have to redo the settings depending on where you're located. But that's not so with the Midland, because what it has is a travel home button. And you hold this down, and you have to hold it for a little bit because you don't want it to go off by accident. You hear that little beep, and you'll see a TR appear up here. Now you're in travel mode. And what it does, instead of just going to the default channel and limiting the alerts to the SAME codes that you have programmed in the radio, it will scan. And it'll scan for the strongest weather alert channel to monitor, and it will receive all of the weather alerts as you travel. So as you're driving down the highway, or you're traveling over a distance, it automatically adjusts itself to the most pertinent weather information. But it does not lose the home information. So when you get back to your home base, you hold this down again. I'm going to hear a little beep, and you'll see this changes to HM up in the corner. And that indicates that it's in the home mode, and now you have all your default settings for your default weather channel and default SAME codes. It's very, very useful, very time-saving, and a very nice feature. Just a little orientation of the controls, the up and down arrow keys, the menu key, select key, and I'll show you how all these work then. This is the travel home button. This is the on-off. I just want to show you something though, it's important. Some people ask this question. When it's turned off, you'll see the time display. Now, this will not receive weather alerts in this mode. People have asked me that. What you got to do is by hitting the on button here, hold that down for a second. Comes on. And this is what's called standby mode. And in this mode it will receive the weather alerts. This button here is used to either get the current weather report for your area, or is also a snooze button for the alarm clock function that's built into the radio, which I will show you later on as well. I'll just turn this on for now so you can hear.
Tuesday looks like the warmest day of the week.
And there you can get a complete instant weather forecast for your location. On the side there's two ports. There's another AC adapter port so you can charge it directly on the radio. There's also an earphones jack for private listening, and by listening through the earphones you also conserve the battery charge. On the right side of the radio is the volume controls, louder or softer, belt clip, battery compartment with the latch to release it. I'll show you more about that too. When it receives the weather alerts, it can receive up to 10 different concurrent weather alert conditions, and it stores each in memory until that weather alert expires. And you can scroll through those weather alerts using the up and down arrow keys. Let's see. There's 3 different ways that it'll alarm too that you'll set up, and I'll show you this as well. There is the tone only, which will set the alarm off for 5 minutes or until you press another button. And then it will display the message. There'll be a voice tone setting where the tone will go off for 8 seconds, and then you'll hear the actual voice speak the condition, the alert, for 5 minutes. And lastly, you can say display only, in which case there will be no tone alert. Not sure when you would do that, but that is one of the options. There's another way that the Midland tells you that a weather alert has been received, and there is a small LED light just to the upper left of the M in Midland. Now I can't display that because I don't have any messages in memory. I do have another movie on the site though that shows a weather alert being received. But anyway, that light, when it glows red, it's telling you that there's a warning, that there's a chance that the condition that the weather alert pertains to may occur, and it usually applies to a very large geographic area. If it's glowing orange, that means that there's a watch, and a watch is telling you that the hazard related to the message already exists. It's already occurring, and it applies to a smaller area. And lastly, if it glows yellow, it's telling you that there's an advisory, which is something between a watch and a warning, and it really applies to something like, not as critical, it's not like it's a tornado or anything, but rather it's an advisory that there could be some freezing rain, or there could be a frost, that type of thing. Less important situations. When you first get the radio out of the packaging, this is how it will appear. And I just wanted to show you how to put the battery pack in. Easiest thing to do is to remove the belt clip. You do by pulling this little tab towards you and pushing up on it. Unsnaps right away. Undo the latch at the bottom of the battery cover. Take this out. Now the battery pack, you'll notice the writing is going to go face down into the radio, and you'll see this little protrusion here that's going to fit in. This fits very tight, so it's important that you have this little flap here, this thing to remove the battery, set up that you don't bury that underneath the battery pack. Put that in there like this. Make sure it's tight. And the other thing to watch out for is that doesn't cover these contacts. Because if it does, it's not going to charge when you put it in the charger and docking station. Put that back on. Flip the switch. We're set. We're turned on. Now, it's important that you understand every time you change the battery, or if you take the battery pack out and go to the backup 3 AA batteries, you lose the time. But you're going to find that you do not lose some of the other settings, like the SAME settings or the default weather channel code. That does not change, but you will have to reset the time. Alright, so the first thing we want to do is we want to set this thing up, presuming of course we just got this thing out of the packaging. I'm going to hit the menu key, and you use the up and down arrow keys to step through the different menu options. We'll start with the time. and I'm going to press select, and now I have the time. And for sake of argument, say it's 1:30. It's blinking on the hours, so I'm going to use the up arrow key to go to 1. I'm going to take the right arrow key to go to the tens of minutes. Use the up arrow key. 1:31. I'm going to go over here and hit the right arrow key to the single minutes digit. Take that down to 1:30. Now it's 1:30. I have it, let's see, AM. Good enough for now, but I'm going to take that and I'm going to select it. Now my time is set. I hit the down arrow key to go to the next memory option, and it's light. This is the backup light, or the backlit function here. And what I do is I'm going to select that, and there's two options. I can have it on all the time, which you might want to set that for when for night viewing, or you can have the backlight normal, in which case it stays on for a few seconds when you hit a button and then goes off. And that conserves the battery. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that backlight on for our demo here, and I'm going to hit select, and now go to the next function. This is going to be the alarm test, and when I press that, we're going to test that the alarm or the tone is working inside the radio, and I'm going to tell you so you can hear it. When you're done with that, you just hit the down arrow key to go to the next menu option. So here we go. We're going to test the alarm. And obviously it works. I hit the down arrow, and now I go to the alarm type. And here's where I can tell it if I want it to be tone only, tone with voice, or the display. Those three options I told you about earlier. And so I'm going to select that so you can see it. There's the voice, which is actually the tone voice option. There's the display only option, where you would not get a tone, and the tone only, where it would sound for 5 minutes or until you hit a key. My favorite is the voice tone option, or tone voice. So I'm going to select that. I'm going to hit the down arrow key. The next option is the specific area messaging and coding set, the SAME set. I'm going to select that. Here's where I tell it if I want to set it for just one, if I want any SAME code to come through, or if I have multiple, where I can set up to 9 specific county codes. And I'll show you on the website, I show you where you can get those SAME codes. For me right now, I prefer the single. I select that. I'm going to encode SAME01. I'm going to select that again, and here's where I actually enter the code. And I just happen to know that my county code is 042011 for Berks County. And to get out of this, then you just hit the menu key once, twice, 3 times until you get back to SAME set, then hit the down arrow key. The next option is to select the NOAA weather channel for your area. And when I select that, you're able to scroll through the 7 weather channels to find which one is the best. Normally, it's the one that comes in the clearest. That's not always true. In my case, actually, I know that my weather channel is going to be number 1, but 7 comes through a little clearer than number 1 because of the geography of where I'm located. And I'm going to go through this process. So I select channel.
For today and tonight, the problem is Wilkes-Barre, Scranton,
and I can step
Pocono.
through the different weather channels.
Severe thunderstorms are possible.
And you can see that number 7 comes through the clearest for me. And I'm going to select it, and now weather channel number 7 is programmed into the computer as the default channel. Hitting the down arrow key to the last menu option is for the alarm clock function. If I select that, it's currently set to off. I can set it on. If I hit select, I can set the time I want that alarm to go off. Just go ahead and select that, and select that, and we're back to the time, and I'm just going to hit the menu again, and now we're off. So everything is set up now, and we're basically ready to go.